In April of 2024, a mother in Arizona received a call. It was the terrified, sobbing voice of her 15-year-old girl.
And it's my daughter's voice crying and sobbing, saying, "Mom." And I'm like, okay, what happened? She's like, "Mom, these bad men have me. Help me, help me."
A man demanded ransom in exchange for Brianna. He didn't want a wire transfer, but instead told her he'd pick her up.
I started to wonder, if these people were asking to track my mom and pick her up, they could have obviously been putting some information together to try and track me or some of my siblings to actually make this a reality.
The call came from her daughter's number. It was her daughter's voice. The mother's heart stopped. Then, a man's voice took over. "Send $1 million or you will never see your daughter again." In that moment of pure terror, she couldn't possibly have imagined the truth. This wasn't a real kidnapping. A phantom, born from a single TikTok video she had posted. The FBI has a warning for you.
The FBI is urging caution. If you receive an unexpected message, especially from a new number or platform, the Bureau recommends verifying the sender's identity through a trusted source. All it takes is a few seconds of recorded audio to build a convincing fake. These impersonations are getting harder to spot. AI-generated audio has become so advanced that voice clones can sound nearly identical to the real thing.
The voice you trust the most is now the most dangerous weapon aimed at your life savings. Now, imagine it's your phone ringing. You see the name "My Son" flash across the screen. You hear his voice, desperate, begging for help after a car crash. Could you truly tell the difference? The 3-second birthday message you posted online. The sound of your voice, captured in a video with friends. To them, that's all it takes. In 2025, AI can clone your voice, your tone, even the way you breathe, creating a perfect digital twin. And that twin is starting to make phone calls to your family. Was the nightmare that mother in Arizona experienced a freak accident? Tragically, it was just the beginning. By 2025, AI-driven crime evolved beyond just cloning a voice. It became a full-blown impersonation. Inside a multinational corporation in Hong Kong, a senior finance employee sat on a video conference call. He saw the familiar faces of his colleagues, including the company's chief financial officer from the UK. He heard their voices. He discussed quarterly reports. It wasn't a pre-recorded video. It was a live, interactive meeting. Every question was answered. Every nod was perfectly timed. Following the CFO's direct orders, he authorized a series of transfers, totaling $25.6 million. Everything about the meeting was perfect, except for one detail. No one on the other end of that call was real.
A fake Zoom meeting, a chief financial officer cloned, a staggering $25 million stolen.
They were all digital ghosts, phantoms created by AI, perfectly mimicking the faces and voices of his superiors. The era of just stealing a voice is over. Now they steal entire identities.
Whichever way you look at it, one thing is clear. We have entered a post-truth world where if you still think that seeing is believing, do it at your own peril.
They wear the faces of your bosses. They speak with the authority of your leaders. This isn't a science fiction movie. This is the new reality of crime. So how did these digital ghosts crawl out of the dark corners of the web and break into the everyday reality of our lives? To understand, we need to open a new case file. Date: 2022. Target: a lonely woman in France. Weapon: hope. Objective: steal her entire life. Normally, a romance scam is a simple operation. Text messages, fake profile pictures, declarations of love. But this target was different. She was cautious. She was smart. She wouldn't fall for simple words. So the scammers had to concoct another plan, a more audacious one. They needed proof, irrefutable proof. So they decided to use a face no one would ever question, the face of Brad Pitt. It sounds impossible, a cheap trick destined to fail. But this is where the game changed. This wasn't just a few stolen photos. This was a full-scale psychological operation. They used deepfakes for personalized video messages. They used manipulated photos placing him in locations she mentioned. They used a perfectly crafted script that analyzed her desires, her fears, her dreams. It wasn't a single call. It was a slow, calculated seduction that lasted for months. They didn't just ask for money. First, they built trust. Then, they preyed on hope. The final cost? Nearly $1 million. The question is, why? Why do these tactics that sound so crazy on paper work so devastatingly well in reality? Because the criminals aren't just targeting your bank account anymore. They are targeting loneliness, hope, and the simple human desire for connection, especially in a generation less familiar with the dark corners of digital manipulation. But is it only the rich and famous being impersonated that makes this dangerous? The million-dollar scams and deepfaked celebrities grab the headlines. But the real terror of this technology isn't just in its grand illusions. It's in how it strikes at the heart of ordinary families, for amounts that are just as devastating. Let's go inside a real call that took place in Florida. A mother, a daughter, and a stolen $15,000. 3:15 p.m. Her phone rings. The caller ID shows her daughter's name. The moment she answers, she hears a terrified voice.
Sharon says the caller told her she had been texting and driving and had been in an accident with a pregnant woman, and authorities confiscated her phone.
When I picked up the phone, it was my daughter's voice. It was her crying voice. She was hysterical.
3:16 p.m. The phone is handed to a man, a supposed public defender. He demands a $15,000 settlement immediately, or her daughter goes to prison. In the background, the crackle of police radios, the faint sound of a siren. They don't give her a second to think. Her mind isn't processing information anymore. It's just racing with one thought: I have to save my daughter. This is the anatomy of the attack. They use a voice you trust to hijack your heart. They use faked background noise to sell the illusion. And they use extreme time pressure to shut down the logical part of your brain. For these criminals, it doesn't matter if it's $1 million or 1,000. It's all just a number. But for a family, it can be everything. So why don't we just pass more laws? Why can't the government stop this? The shocking answer? They can't. Our laws are relics of a world that no longer exists. In 2024, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission scrambled to declare AI robocalls illegal. But it was like trying to patch a sinking ship with duct tape. The crime had already gone global. It's a digital arms race. And right now, the criminals are winning. Because this isn't a fight we can win with legal measures alone. The rules of the game have changed. You don't get to choose if you're a target. They choose. And they choose you because they understand something fundamental about your brain. They understand that under extreme stress, your brain's primal fear center, the amygdala, takes over. It shuts down your logic, your reasoning, your ability to think critically. It's called an amygdala hijack. Your voice, your face, your entire digital identity can be stolen and weaponized at any moment without your consent. We built this technology to give us more control over our lives, to give a voice back to those who lost it. But now, that same technology has given criminals unprecedented control over us. We are living in an age where our greatest defense is not the law, it's awareness. The news celebrates new records for AI stocks every single day. The world marvels at the utopia AI will bring, a future of unbelievable wealth and convenience. But behind the dazzling stock charts, a family is being torn apart by a phone call. Someone's life savings are vanishing into the digital void. This is the hidden price of progress. We are entering an age where we must second-guess the sound of a loved one's voice. An age where the fundamental human bond of trust is being systematically shattered by lines of code. What do we lose as a society when we can no longer believe what we hear? The advance of technology cannot be stopped, but we must choose how to navigate it and how to defend ourselves from the monsters it creates. So, will you learn to arm yourself against this new reality, or will you become the next victim? The choice is yours.